for the first time, I was just thinking that it must be someone who loses his mind.
Some crazy man.
A crazy man who just loses his mind and is doing really atrocities on the women, the body of women. But when I saw it repeatedly, I started to understand that it was not rape only, but it was rape with extreme violence. And when women start to tell me what happened to them, I could understand that it was rape, but the way that this rape was done was just to destroy individuals, to destroy women, to destroy the body of women, but also to destroy their families and the society. Because most of this rape are happening in public, and it's gang rape. So it's a way to dehumanize women, to destroy them physically and mentally, but also to try to get impact on the family and the society. This is one sense. And if you destroy women, you destroy the families and you destroy the society.
The women is the key to the whole society.
Absolutely, because it's everywhere, I think. Women are really, in my country, women are carrying the society on their shoulders. And when you destroy them, it means that you destroy everything. It's not only socially, but it's also economically. And to target women is really to make a war with a very efficient weapon, which is very cheap also.
Can you and Panzi help every woman and child who comes to the hospital? How do you address this issue?
We are doing our best, but I know that today we don't have enough means to treat all victims. We are just doing what we can with the means that we have. And of course, women who are coming at the hospital, all of them are getting treatment at the hospital. But we know that there are many in the countryside who can't access to the hospital because their area is not safe.
They can't walk,
They can't walk because they are maybe very sick. And sometimes, as the minister said, it can be also a problem of taboo. They don't want to talk about what happened for them until they get the most complication, and there they just, their community brings them to the hospital in a very bad condition. So we are trying to do our best, and at the hospital, today we are not only treating them medically. Before it was only medically, it was what I think with my colleagues who are here, I don't want to say names because I will start and until
you'll
tomorrow,
never finish.
I will be just talking about names and how they are brave and courage people who really did a great job at Panzi. But after to be treating patient medically, we discovered that the healing was not, even after to make the good treatment physically, women were just complaining for other sex. And there, after a few years, we understood that it is needed really to support them psychologically. And then we introduce in our treatment, the second pillar of our treatment with the psychosocial support. And really, we saw that at this moment, many things change for women. Really, they were very strong psychologically and physically.
Wonderful to hear.
But it was not enough. Because after this, most of them were asking us, I can't go back. In my village, my husband rejects me. The community rejects me. So I don't have a possibility to go back, or my village is under control of the same group who raped me. And then we start just to think, after to treat the patient medically and psychologically, to let them just in the street. It was just to expose them at another kind of rape in the city. So we start a third pillar of our treatment is a socio-economical support. And there really you could see that women start to be strong, autonomous, and ready to fight for the right of their children, and even the right of others, including myself. Women are fighting for me, and this is very important. And the last pillar is justice. And this is very important, because without justice, women have impression that it happened to them, but the community don't really recognize what happened, and it was not their fault. So most of the time when women decide to go to justice, in our systems, the justice is very weak. So they can't expect really to be paid to go to justice. But it's only to get someone who can tell them, you are right, he's wrong. And what he did was bad. And this is very important for this process of healing.
So know the right and wrong.
Exactly. And women need really to feel that no one can blame them for some things that someone did and tried to destroy them.
And this is, of course, a process.
It's a process.
Yes.
It's a process. Because they can't really, in our experience, for adults, they are not coming for the first time to seek justice. Justice is more for children. Parents are seeking, the first thing they are seeking for children is justice. But for adults, most of the time, it's a very long process before to come to justice.
Dr. Mukwege, I know that you don't like to talk about yourself, but I like to talk about Dr. Mukwege. So this is a serious question. The more attention you put to the issue in Congo, the more you put yourself at risk. How do you cope with that? What will happen when you come back to Congo, Dr. Mukwege?
Really, this is a good question. But, you know, I'm an individual. I'm just Denis. But there is thousands of people who are suffering. Thousands of people who don't have voice. Thousands of people who are crying and are just asking us to give them our voice. And I think that, of course, I'm asking myself what will happen when I go back. So I'm human. And I don't want to be, I used to say, a dead hero. I would like to be alive. But the big question is, when you have women as the women I'm treating at the hospital, really, to give up is very difficult because they are strong and you have just impression that you are just a small man doing nothing if you can see what they are doing with nothing. So I will just give you an example. I like to talk about this example. When I was attacked at my house, Joseph, who was working for me, was killed in front of my children. And it was really a very, very hard time for the family. And I decided that I can't stay here. And I left the country. This was a normal reaction. And I think that I just feel that this is right. But after 3 months, I come back. I decided to come back. Do you know what happened? Women decide that we need Dr. Mukwege back. They knock on all the doors that they could knock on. They didn't get answer. At the end, they decide, okay, you men, you don't care about us, but we'll run ourselves, our business, they start to sell fruit and vegetables. And each Friday, they bring money at the hospital just to try to get enough to pay my ticket back. Can you imagine?
And this, vi kommer dra över lite på tiden bara så ni vet. Jag hoppas ni tycker det är okej. Ja. Can I, Dr. Mukwege?
Yeah, thank you.
Just like this.
Thank you.
I just said that we're going to talk a little bit longer because this was, of course, very interesting. But this is also something that is an answer to what I asked before when I asked you what will happen when you come back to Congo. So the answer is, I don't decide. The women wants me, and that's the answer. That's your answer.
I think that my place is in Congo.
Yeah.
My place is with the women of Congo.
I brought my mobile phone because my question is, aren't we all part of the problem? Because Congo, with all the minerals and everything, we think that, oh, that's in Africa, it doesn't happen to us, but we all wear these. And they are all full of minerals, maybe digged up in Congo. So are we part of the problem that the things are like they are in Congo?
Yeah, the reality is when you are using electronic equipment and soon with our electric cars, we are connected to what is happening in Congo. I'm sorry to say it, but this is a reality. And if you are connected on all these bad things that are happening in Congo, maybe I think that we need, as consumers, to be more aware about how we can use this kind of equipment.
Hörde ni detta?
I like it.
Hörde ni detta nu? How can we put more limelight to Congo by not buying the phones, or what do you mean? No. We live in the Western world. We have to have those things.
Yeah, I just come to tell you that I have on myself my smartphone, and my life is really connected to this equipment. But what I want to tell you, the conflict is completely, and now we know that people who are fighting, they are fighting to get a control on the resources of Congo. Mm. And it's not an ethnic war. It's not a war between religions, fanatics, or things like that. It's a war to get a control on minerals or natural resources of Congo.
Fight for the resources.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think that what we can do, there are many possibilities to fight against, because we can get all this equipment clean. Why we have to keep this war going? I'm so sorry to say it. If in 21st century we are not able to stop a war doing by people with machete and at least Kalashnikov, so I think that we are very weak. Because in the Second World War, we decided to stop it. The world decided to stop it, and they did. Mm. And today, I think that there is a possibility to say we want to get all these minerals free of conflict. Mm. And the way is to stop this conflict. In Congo, we are not making guns. Guns are coming somewhere. In Congo, I can say that we don't have in South, North Kivu, and Tanganyika, we don't have any single company who is exploiting this mineral. And this is really something that the world could think about it. And I want just to give you one example. 100 years ago, a missionary who is called Cheblo He was in Congo. 100 years. Because what is happening in Congo now, it happened 100 years ago. For to get the rubber for the wheel of cars. 10 million of people in Congo died at this moment. You can read Adam Rothschild about this, about what happened 100 years ago. But you know who stopped this genocide? He was a Swedish missionary, Sjöblom. He took initiative to talk around the world and just say what is happening in Congo. At this moment, he didn't use all the new technology of information and communication, very, very high. You can communicate. I'm doing this interview now. I'm sure that maybe someone in Congo is following me. At this moment, Sjöblom didn't use this kind of equipment. We have this equipment to inform. But Sjöblom, he used just media to make advocacy, and he stopped this crimes against humanity in Congo. So we have a responsibility. If Sjöblom did it, all of us here, we can be a Sjöblom.
We can be a Sjöblom, yes. I know that there is a song that is very close to your heart. And in Sweden we call it a psalm. Do you say that in English too, psalm? Vad heter det? Hymn, tack. And this song is the very one that you sang when attending churches with your father. Because you are a pastor, he was a pastor, and you visited together, and this song was your favorite and still are. So from our heart, you can sit and enjoy the song, don't go anywhere. So from our heart to you, this is in Swedish and Swahili, and the song is called Löftena kunna ej svika, or in English, Promises won't let you down. Do you want to hear it? I see it in your eyes that you want to. Var är ni? Där är ni. Då kör vi då.
Amor